This is a podcast or something like that. Well, if it isn't the Verbal Journal podcast back in action, it's one of the longest breaks, maybe the longest break that I've ever taken here on the podcast so far in the year plus that I've been doing it. I'm now 3 weeks older than the previous episode. Instead of just doing 1 week, one became two because I was traveling and my flights got delayed and I got in late. I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I was going to maybe do it on a weekday. I was like, nah. And then the following weekend, which was last weekend, I was sick. And so I was like, I'm not going to record an hour-long podcast. I've done it before. Verbal Journal podcast, longtime listeners will remember one of the early episodes in the first 10, I want to say, I was sick and I recorded it while I was sick and I regretted it. I regret it. It was regrotten by me. So anyways, I'm so happy to be back. Wow. Do I have a great episode for you today? The answer is yes to that rhetorical question. I still am kind of getting over the cold, to be honest. So, a little bit of coughs here and there, a little bit of, chuckles here and there, throat chuckles, as I call them, coughs. But no, I'm doing well because, just life's been good. I thrive under a good break, taking time off like this. Two weeks no Verbal Journal podcast consecutively. Like, I've just had so much free time because usually recording this takes up so much time. You might think it's just an hour, recording it and posting it, but no, it's probably 50 to 60 hours consecutively over the course of 3 to 4 days, just to get this 45-minute segment of audio. So it's a lot of planning, every single word, every single coffee sip. It's all planned out meticulously. That's the only way to achieve the VJP effect, the VJPE. So welcome back, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing really well and thriving in your life. That's the second time I've used the word thriving already. That's in not that long. Is it St. Patrick's Day? Hold on. Is it stpatricksday.com? Is it St. Patrick's Day? You know what? St. Patrick's Day 2024 near me. March 17th. Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so I did see someone out at a bar this weekend who I thought was dressed in like St. Patrick's Day attire, but I didn't, I was going to ask a friend, hey, is it St. Patrick's Day? But then I knew it wasn't because it was, I think, like yesterday or Friday. So little did I consider the option that because in my mind, I'm like, St. Patrick's Day is always on Sunday, so it must not be St. Patrick's Day. But I didn't think, maybe for some people, it's a St. Patrick's Day weekend thing, Welcome. Come on down to the St. Patrick's Day weekend event here at Hyundai. So this is a St. Patrick's Day pod. It's got to go in the title, right? Look at the title. Did I decide that it would go in the title? What do you think of that decision? Because I don't even know right now what I'm going to decide. Isn't that crazy? And I don't know. As you listen to me, it's just, wow, time. Yeah, Inception. Fun fact about me and the movie Inception, I may have mentioned this before. I have not seen Inception, even though I worked in a movie theater when it came out. Oh, I do think I mentioned that because I think they watched Inception on cinema. So when I did the about 2 episodes of the VJP where I just went through movie titles from on cinema at the cinema, saying whether I'd seen them or not, I think Inception was in there. But yeah, I worked at a movie theater, could have seen Inception for free, didn't see it just because I don't know. It's hard to give a simple answer to simple questions sometimes. Anyways, I have so much to talk about today. I've just, as I do, I collect things to talk about. And so with 3 weeks it's not that I have more quantitatively, but definitely qualitatively. I made sure to. I don't. I'm prepared. I'm prepared is what I'm trying to say. Um, so cool thing, just like channel wise, is I did start like working again on a script. That will eventually be a video, and it's something I've mentioned before. It's about an AI art sort of company, and sorry about that. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's something I've been working on for several years at this point, and it's just, I'm not in a rush with it, but it was very cool to put some hours of work into it for the first time in a while. Really writing a script. I sort of hadn't worked on a script in a long time. I've been doing visual art, painting, or other stuff, music sometimes, but I haven't been doing a ton of writing. I did some fiction writing, but it's real work, and it scratches an itch, and it's interesting, but it really is work. Like I'm feeling like I'm putting together a puzzle in a very logical way. I'm sitting there like, oh, but this sentence unintentionally has that implication, so I need to alter the wording so that's not there. Oh, these items are brought up one after the other, and then they're talked about in the reverse order. I have to change it. You know what I mean? Just like interesting sort of logical things come up. But really, I'm trying to tell the story of this company, but I have all these different notes and all these different angles. And it's really, I've done so much work already. I keep telling myself I've done the hard work already. I really have. Because you're sort of fabricating the pieces of the puzzle. Not that you're making them up, but you're spinning them out of the facts of the world. You're taking what exists and you're turning that into a story, and then and then you have to sort of create the elements of that story. You're not I shouldn't say creating or fabricating, but you're doing something to these original data points to make them work in a script. Like each new thing I would learn about this company, I'd be like, okay, how does that connect to the other stuff? What is the most important thing? It's going to be I'd say a pretty long video, not like 3 hours or anything, but I'm trying to figure out what to do. Yeah. But it's not going to be anytime soon or anything, and maybe one of these days, like, you never know. Doing something like that can make me, want to work on other stuff. I do have other stuff I could work on. Whatever. Anyways, so that's where I'm at on that level. And the channel's going good. We hit 48,000 subscribers on the YouTube, so that's nice number. I'm probably going to do a live stream when I hit 50,000, so it's not going to happen anytime soon, actually. I'd say it'll take like a month or two, or more maybe, but whatever. So anyways, I have some stuff. Let's see what's on the agenda for today for episode 55. Oh yeah, Oscars. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. No, 1 week ago. I'm sorry. 1 week ago, that I was going to talk about the Oscars on here. So I didn't watch the Oscars. I did watch the On Cinema at the Cinema Oscars. It's this great show with Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, and it's sort of like it's a movie blog show where they just like everything goes horribly wrong, and they sort of never talk about movies, but they also constantly talk about movies. It's an interesting dynamic. So their Oscar special like barely covered the Oscars, of course. And I don't watch the Oscars, but I thought I'd take a look at what won. So apparently Oppenheimer won Best Picture. Okay, I didn't see any of the Best Picture nominees. I literally didn't see any of that. Oh, I did see Poor Things. They nominated Poor Things. Yo, I swear, it's like so... I don't know. I feel like it's so easy to like get nominated for Best Picture if you just have like a few of the right, like, you got the right names there. It's just so crazy that we feel the need to like, I don't see how Poor Things, like that's the one I saw, and like the idea that that would be a best picture, but like again, even worse is Oppenheimer. Like I didn't see the movie, but are you kidding me? And Barbie, like wait, like I'm not even trying to be a jerk, but like since when are like the I don't know. Aren't the best pictures supposed to be like a little bit more off the beaten path? Maybe they're not. I don't know anything about movies, but like American Fiction, I've heard a synopsis of that. Like that sounds like the type of thing that should win Best Picture, just in theory. It's just like an interesting premise. It's like social commentary. Like obviously Barbie's social commentary too, and I didn't see it. I'm not dissing Barbie. I think it's probably very good. Oppenheimer seems really strange to me that would win Best Picture. I assume it's obviously like an anti-war movie on some level, but as they say, you can never really make an anti-war movie. So I guess that's sort of the place I'm coming at it from. It just seems like propaganda. But best directing, Oppenheimer. Yeah, okay. Oh wait. Okay, yeah. It's all the same movies. It's like how many movies came out last year? Best actor in a leading role, Cillian Murphy. Oppenheimer. Okay, they really liked Oppenheimer. Best actress, Emma Stone. I mean, yeah, she was fine in Poor Things. It's just like how many movies came out? It's like the such a limited selection of these movies. And then the best actor in a supporting role, Robert Downey Jr. Okay, from Oppenheimer. It's like they have all the same movies. 5 movies, the same ones. They're all the same movies in every single category. Best writing, American Fiction. Okay. Best writing is like what Best Picture used to mean. Maybe I don't know, but they don't care about writing for Best Picture as much, so they. Best animated feature, Boy and the Heron. It's just like everything's just a crowd pleaser. No, is every single like I'm sure that's an amazing movie. I want to see The Boy and the Heron. I really do. But and then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I didn't see that. I heard that was good, but like I don't know. You're telling me there's not more like boundary pushing, like interesting animated feature. Who cares about these awards? It's so weird. I'm sure there are very good movie awards. Obviously, this is just the Oscars. Best costume design, Poor Things. Yeah, for sure. I think it deserves best makeup and best. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Best film editing. It's all like the same movies. Everything's all the same movies. I think the like Oscar nominee or like the Oscar selection team is just like not seeing that many movies. Okay, so anyways, next up, yes, that's my take on the Oscars. What's this? A new feature on Patreon. I like to cover tech. Welcome to the Tech Corner. What is this new feature? This is called a welcome survey. I didn't give myself a link, so I have to just like find it. I don't know. Why did I even want to talk about this? Is it even like interesting or? What's the deal here? Okay, so let's see. Hold on. Welcome survey. Welcome survey. If I was a welcome survey, where would I be? View as paid member. Okay, let's see if I can look at the channel. Because they add these new features and I want to make sure I understand it. Welcome survey. Home. About. Okay. Well, if you take the welcome survey, I might not see what you say because I don't know how to access it. Audience. Let's go to the audience page. Oh, exit surveys. I know about those. Those are great. Nothing is more fun than reading people's reasons for canceling my Patreon. Oh, by the way, I've said this before, but I don't know whether I've said it on the podcast. Like, if you give me money, you're a YouTube member or you're a Patreon supporter, like don't feel like ever pressured to continue. Like obviously just stop whenever you want to. It's not a big deal. And you can, keep, if you have like access to the playlist wait, there is no playlist. If you have access to like behind the scenes videos and stuff, you can still watch them after, if you have the links and stuff, but don't like spread them around, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. People, yeah. Oh, nice. People actually left really nice comments on the exit surveys. Love your content. Saving up for a car right now. And as much as I appreciate your content, I need to reassess my financial situation. Thanks for your great content. You're welcome. Thank you. I like saying you're welcome. I've been hanging out with like older people too much, like some family friends, people who say you're welcome, the older generation. So it kind of rubbed off on me. I don't like it usually. Here's a link to some Patreon thing. Policy updates from the first quarter of 2024. This is our second story on the Tech Corner. So Patreon recently released a whole slew of new features, from community chats to online shops. I don't use either. With these new features came a need for updated community guidelines, easier navigation, teen safety, authenticity, deepfakes, and spam are now bundled under a broader category called inauthentic behavior. No bullying, language, visual consistency. Okay, that was fascinating. So I'm sure that the Tech Corner will not get canceled like the Sports Desk did. I know that will not happen. I'm very sure of that. Oh, quick story, by the way. Last night I was at a bar with some friends, and so I've had people tell me I look like Nathan Fielder before. People have told me on YouTube. People have told me in person. It's happened like 3 to 5 times that people have told me I look like Nathan Fielder. And I did dress up as Nathan Fielder for Halloween last year. I just like styled my hair a little bit. I wore a specific type of sweater and jeans, I think, matched his sort of recent. But, I don't think I look that much like him. I definitely look like him a little bit. I sort of like thicker eyebrows, like similar face shape, similar sort of nose, I guess. Like, our eyes are quite different. I think he has darker eyes, right? But we do look somewhat similar, especially now that I'm staying clean shaved, mostly. A little bit of stubble, slight stubble. But anyways, last night, 2 young women came up to me and like legitimately thought I was Nathan Fielder. And they were like, "Oh, are you the guy from the HBO show The Rehearsal?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Do you actually think I'm Nathan Fielder?" Like, they actually thought I was Nathan Fielder. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I think they were maybe flirting with me, but I'll take the compliment that I remind people of Nathan Fielder. I think that's a compliment. So done with the tech desk, or the tech segment, tech section. So following up on the theme of the podcast, reading artist biographies, I recently finished the biography of the art dealer Leo Castelli. I talked about this biography on the recent episodes. Fantastic biography. Actually, it wasn't perfect. None of these biographies are perfect. There's always sort of drawbacks. This one had somewhat, substantial, it was just kind of biased. To write a whole biography about someone spending years of your life, really, you do usually have to like that person a lot. And, this author, met Leo Castelli, and he's literally the most famous art dealer of the last century. He skyrocketed Jasper Johns to fame. He brought, what's the guy's name? Lichtenstein. What's that guy's name? Lichtenstein? Roy Lichtenstein. He brought him to massive fame. Just like all the post abstract expressionists, and I think Julian Schnabel. He worked with other famous art dealers, Larry Gagosian. So this guy Leo Castelli was basically the powerhouse of the New York art world in the decades when the New York art world rose to dominance of the entire universe, the known universe. And he had some interesting sort of techniques. He would really make people prove themselves worthy of the art, unless he really needed money here and there and stuff. Because apparently, according to this author, and this is biased towards him, but apparently he didn't really, and this is true, I think, he didn't prioritize profit above everything. He was of the philosophy you obviously get profit, and you have to get profit, but it's not the top priority. And he would keep his artists on these monthly stipends. That was one of his famous things. He would send his artists monthly stipends whether they were sending him art or not. Usually for an art dealer, it's more fundamentally transactional, and people are sending their art in monthly or bi-monthly or whatever, in 6 months. They're sending their art and getting the money in response. The monthly stipends I do not think were very common at the time, and probably are still not common. But obviously that gives a lot of freedom to artists, painters and other artists. Leo, his wife, who he met in Romania and then immigrated with to New York, whose dad was extremely filthy rich. So his wife, Ileana Castelli, and then Ileana Sonnabend, she became a extremely famous art dealer as well, in Paris with Michael Sonnenband. And then back in New York, working together with Leo Castelli, her ex-husband, for many years. So they worked together closely. I think they hooked up. It was like implied, but very confusing. But yeah, he cheated on her many times and cheated on his future wives as well, allegedly, I guess. I don't think you can defame a dead person, if my sources are correct on that. But no, it's heavily implied and like even openly stated at a few points that he was cheating on his wives, and with much younger women. And then his third wife was in her 30s when he married her, and he was in his late 80s. That is not a joke. He was half a century older than his third wife when they got together. And then it's just very interesting. So I read a few follow-up articles. I shouldn't say it's just very interesting. It demonstrates a immaturity of mind. It demonstrates a sort of sad immaturity, perpetual adolescence of the mind, to want to have your closest intimate be half a century younger than you. It's shocking. It's almost unspeakably shocking. So, but you take the good with the bad, and that's a biography, and you take it all in, you learn, and I learned a lot about the art world, and I found it very fascinating. So yeah, I read some critical articles. There was one in particular critical, and then another sort of just exploring his relationship with his third wife and how people thought she sort of influenced him negatively, but it's not that clear about that. And he was a freaking old man, and maybe he wanted to close his gallery, and maybe it wasn't all her, and blah, blah, blah. So, but anyways, there was this other article that was critical of the book, sort of for the bias thing. But honestly, I read the article and it didn't have that much solid criticism. It was just pointing out the bias, but it wasn't there wasn't that big of a deal. So anyways, good book. I'm reading one about Mark Rothko that I started a while ago and never continued, but he's a very interesting guy. And I recently read a book just called The Dehumanization of Art. It's an essay by Ortega y Gasset, I believe is how you say it, but really fascinating, from the 40s or 50s, just an essay about how modern art is sort of about dehumanizing the art and representing abstraction rather than reality, basically. I don't know. It's a lot more complicated than that. But then I got another few books. And then I got another philosophical art book that I'm reading now. It's called The Conspiracy of Modern Art. Really fascinating, translated from Portuguese. So it's kind of intense philosophy. It did sort of put me to sleep yesterday, but it also had a lot of interesting stuff. I was reading about Baudelaire, who apparently wrote a lot about modern art. And I guess he was, when did he live exactly? I forget, but the author was talking about, what was it? Which one is it actually? It was the 1848 revolution. So as revolutions throughout Europe in the course of 1848 and 1849, and then they were crushed very brutally. So these were sort of democratic liberal revolting against the old monarchies. And I believe they were, Yeah, so there was like an official artist. I think it was Delacroix, or how do you say that? But yeah, I was just reading about it. They were talking about like the connections between, like, just the ways that people responded to the repression of these revolutions and how that influenced art. So it was really fascinating. So I'll read more about that. So I flew, anyways. That's the end of the art updates. So on these flights I took 2 weeks ago, coming back from visiting with family, Lindsey Graham was on one of my flights. The U.S. senator from South Carolina, right? South Carolina. He was on one of my flights, and I was like, that before, like, we were at the gate, and I was like, that guy looks like Lindsey Graham, but I didn't think it was actually him. And then we get on the plane, and I walk by him, and he has a backpack like at his feet that says Senator Lindsey Graham. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I hate that guy. He's a horrible senator. He's done so much bad stuff. And I wanted to confront him, if anything, on the way he acted during the Brett Kavanaugh appointment trial, which was just absolutely horrible. He just behaved so horribly. Just blind and irrational defense of that man. And it was disgusting behavior. So actually the plane ended up having issues, and we had to deboard the plane, and then we got delayed hours. And then I was like, there's no way Lindsey Graham is still here. And then he must have gone to some other like private room. But then he was back at the gate hours later. So he was still on the same flight hours later. It's like, dude, you're a senator. You can't get a better way to travel. But okay, I mean, well, fair enough. So I did say something to him. He walked by me before we got on the plane. We were at the gate, and he walked by me. And look, I wanted to confront him. I'm being honest, but he was walking by me with AirPods in. And if I wanted to say anything to him, what am I going to do? Am I going to yell at him, this sad old man alone at the airport? So I just thought it was funnier to be like, hi, Senator Graham. And he gave me this sheepish little, like, pathetic, sad wave and smile. And so, it was funny. Anyways, so I like to talk about when I watch things. I watched The Daily Show, the new Daily Show. I watched the episode about Palestine, and I watched it with my family, which was super fun. I just wanted to give my comments on it. Jon Stewart's great, obviously, relative to your average person. He's a great guy. I think he's done great things. He's a wonderful man and person. I thought the show was bad. I thought the episode was bad, and it was very dystopian and uncomfortable to watch. He had these two Americans on. One, I don't remember if I guess the guy has like Palestinian heritage, and he's a Muslim man as well. I think he has Palestinian heritage, or at least he's a scholar on issues related to Palestine. And then another guy who's a Zionist, Jewish American man, and they're both like journalists. And it's just this like. It is what it sounds like, which is this like, oh, both people get a seat at the table, and it's about how they're just on the same side trying to work things out. But, when specific things come up, like the Muslim man saying, like Israel is technically violating international law and the 1967 borders. I think I have that right. It just doesn't even come up. Like, it doesn't get spoken to. And like, so, there's just, and then, oh man, there was this really bad point where Jon Stewart called out like other Arab nations for not accepting Palestinian refugees. And like, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not a scholar on this issue, but like, to me, that's such a messed up framing. Like, these people should not have to be refugees. Like, it's so weird to even like, don't even spend your time talking about the other countries letting them in. Spend your time talking about the creation of refugees and victims through the behavior of the Israeli government. So it's like, it's just absolutely horrible to present this as like, oh, Israel's, it makes it seem like it's this even battle to have them both at the table in that way. And I did, just as far as psychology, there felt like there's this undercurrent, so these two guys are like friends. But it felt like there was this undercurrent where the Zionist guy really did seem to want to be friends more, and that's probably because he has cognitive dissonance of supporting a violent regime and wanting the sort of absolution of a friendship with a Muslim man who supports Palestine to make him not feel that he wasn't doing anything wrong. And so, anyways, it's an international criminal genocide. Obviously, it's a genocide. I mean, it really does seem like they're targeting Palestinians for being Palestinians and wiping them out to establish even more of an ethnic state, and it's absolutely horrible. So I thought it was a bad episode, and whatever, but it's better than most TV, I guess. I also watched an episode of the show Resident Alien, which is pretty funny. It's about like an alien guy who looks like a guy to most people, but he's an alien, and it was funny and well acted, and way too much going on. Way too much rapid fire going on. Was it an Apple TV? I was talking about that other Apple TV show, Shrinking. What is Resident Alien on? What network is it on? Tell me what Sci-Fi. What the fuck? Okay, I remember when that was called. Actually, I forget what it used to be called. It was called something else though. Yeah, it did just make me think, some shows like Resident Alien, like you're not supposed to think too hard about it. You're really not. And I had things come up in my mind that it's like, you're just not supposed to think about that. And it's interesting because I think some other shows like Better Call Saul, you are able to think a lot deeper without it becoming weird and stupid. So I think some things are meant to be thought about. Another interesting thing, so I've talked about surrealism when I talk about art. We're going back to the art news. One thing I talked about was like some of these biographies, some of these older ones, maybe like Max Ernst or other biographies. The guys who were heavy into surrealism and like the weird, or like very like formal way and having clubs about it and stuff, like, which I guess I shouldn't make fun. It's all good. That's fun. I want to do that. But, some of them were into this guy, Marquis de Sade. And, I was talking about him a little bit, and that's where sadism comes from. It's named after Marquis de Sade. And he was just this like sad boy, I guess, or like this poetic, whatever guy. Who he sort of founded surrealism in a sort of way. And I watched the new ContraPoints video, which was fantastic. It's the best video I've ever seen about desire, that aspect of human psychology. It's just fantastic. And her new video talks about Marquis de Sade, and she points out something I never knew, even though I've heard him mentioned in numerous biographies and books about art and artists who liked him. I don't believe any of them mentioned that he drugged and abused sex workers, which he apparently did. Which is, I could have missed it, but I don't feel like that's something I would have missed. And so it's just kind of fascinating that I don't believe that was mentioned in these several other instances where I was reading about him. I don't believe any of them mentioned that he did that. Or was accused of it, or I think served time for doing it. So, it's just, very weirdly, but that's lying by omission. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, we're going back to the tech desk. Sorry about the disorganization here. Going back to the art desk and then going back to the tech desk. This is a nightmare. I'm going to really get chastised for that. And I just wanted to say Twitter was deleted as a website. So the entire website of Twitter was deleted. There's no more Twitter. So it's not that, if you've tried to find my account, my page, and you haven't been able to, if you type in what's therapy and you can't find my account, it's not that I deleted my Twitter account. It's that Twitter itself is completely gone. So that's what's going on there. No, but I did delete my account. I just reached a breaking point where I was like, I just feel this site's really stupid. I feel stupid having a page on this site. So if, maybe I do have a blue sky page, and just to be clear, I had it before, I had it when you needed an invite code. I just want to make that abundantly clear. A little bit worried that people aren't going to realize that. So I was on Blue. I'm a legacy Blue Sky user. I've got several posts. I've amassed something like 2 to 3 likes. I've been on Blue Sky, so I just wanted to put that out there. And So I'm doing a lot of posting. I'm doing a lot of posting on Blue Sky. Okay. Anyways, no more Twitter. Here on the news desk, U.S. Air Force employee charged with disclosing classified information on dating website. That's funny. Okay, 63-year-old taken into custody in Nebraska on 3 counts of federal indictment. Accuses him of giving classified material by email and online messages about the Russia-Ukraine war to someone claiming to be a woman living in Ukraine. That person who called him her, quote, secret agent and secret informant love was not identified. That must have been like an agent, actually, right? So this guy retired as lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, joined the Air Force as a civilian employee, was signed to U.S. Strategic Command at this Nebraska Air Force base, and then gave away lots of specific details of things to a woman, someone he thought was a woman on a dating app. So that just goes to show, I think dating apps are problematic. Next up, is this shady Kate Middleton photo AI generated or a Photoshop fail? Everyone's heard about the Kate Middleton photo. My theory is Photoshop. But let's see what this article says. Okay, Kate'spiracy, Kate's absence. I do think it's disgusting how much attention we pay to people like this. So I'm just curious about the tech side of things, obviously. Misalignment step behind Prince Lewis's legs, some distortion. Who's Prince Lewis? Lewis from Breaking Bad? People saying it might be manipulated. What's the article saying? I'm waiting for the answer. There's no answer. Okay. There's no answer. But the royal Twitter Kate Middleton or whatever said, like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph which yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a happy Mother's Day. So what? That's very funny to not say what she edited. I mean, that's so suspicious, right? I mean, but leave them alone. I don't know. I do think the leave them alone thing is weird because if they want to be left alone, they should just, I think, withdraw completely from the royal family. I mean, I would say at the end of the day, it is morally wrong to participate in the royal family in any regard. And I do believe people who get knighted are complete losers and dorks. And in my opinion, I'm sure we could find examples of people you're like, but they're cool. It's like, I think if you let yourself get knighted, I don't know. Like that's a bad thing to do. I think you shouldn't participate in monarchical power structures personally, or benefit from them in any way. So it's obvious that you should just withdraw from the royal family if you want to be left alone. Okay. Okay. So next up, we have a new segment from last time, second edition of this new segment. It's the Grind My Gears segment. And let me tell you, okay, I'm very happy to say this. This is the one benefit of the podcast being delayed 2 weeks. Because if it was delayed 1 week or even 2 weeks, I would not have had anything for the Grind My Gears. Is it Grinds? It's the Grind My It's the Grinds My Gears segment, or the Grind My. Is it the Grind My Gears segment or the Grinds My Gears segment? I think it's the Grinds My Gears segment, but that seems like a lot of S's. So I wouldn't have had anything to say. I just couldn't think of anything, that grinds my gears. I knew there were things, I just couldn't think of them, So the one benefit of delaying like I have is I actually thought of something that, it's not a new thing. It's grinded my gears so much for quite a while, but I actually thought about it and I finally remembered what it is. And you know what? This is like a huge pet peeve of mine. So like the fact that I thought of it makes me so happy because it is what this segment was created for. Okay. And you might even disagree. This is one of those things. This might fracture my viewership, my listenership. This might be the end of the Verbal Journal podcast. But look, you know what really grinds my gears, okay? And this is serious. I'm serious. When people make fun of the famous Eminem freestyle, okay? The famous Eminem freestyle. What was it about? Trump, right? Eminem freestyle. It was about Trump, right? Famous Eminem freestyle. It was, right? Yeah, that was the one about Trump. Wow, he did a lot of freestyles. That's what he's famous for. Eminem Trump. Yeah. So it's this famous. It was on the 55 million views on the BET networks. It's this famous freestyle. He's in a parking garage. And oh yeah, this is the one where he has the line "awfully hot coffee pot." One comment: I'm starting to think he didn't vote for Trump. Someone commented, "That's an awfully calm parking lot." And then, so the comments on the video, there's a few people saying it's cringe. And then someone says, "This is M at his most cringe. It's a masterpiece." The comments are definitely, clowning a little bit. Actually, there's a few people. Yeah, really. Bro really thought he did something. 64 upvotes. Wow. So, but I'm not talking about the commenters on YouTube. I'm talking like people say this everywhere. You see this all the time where people make fun of his freestyle, this freestyle in particular. And it's not necessarily people supporting Trump. So this is a whole freestyle where Eminem is like, I'm going to come out and just make it really clear I hate Trump and I think he's scamming everybody. And if you're a listener of mine and you like Trump, I'm drawing a line in the sand is one of the lines. And I just, to me, awfully hot coffee pot. Yeah, I get it's obviously a funny line and you're supposed to react and enjoy it and talk about it and whatever. Yeah, so I don't care about that. People take it further though and make fun of the freestyle. And to me, there's just one basic thing at the heart of this, which is if I hear someone making fun of a freestyle like this, I am immediately thinking, okay, well, can you freestyle? Because if you've tried to freestyle rap before, it's probably I find it to be one of the hardest things that you can sort of try to do mentally. And I really find it so rich for people to make fun of Eminem going out in public. And if we're going to believe the video, he's standing in front of 5 or 10 of his friends and he's doing, or I assume people he knows. And then he's doing a freestyle about, sure, a very serious subject, but whatever, politics and he's whatever. But it's also, forget that. I don't care even that it's about Trump. It's a freestyle. It's a serious freestyle where he's like, this is my freestyle and I'm putting it out there, take it or leave it. And for people to make fun of that and never in a million years will ever have to try to freestyle. To me, that's the most really dumb thing. And it's not even you always have to do everything that you criticize someone for. But I guess for me, something really strikes a chord about this because freestyling is so hard. And by the way, awfully hot coffee pot is a cool line. And if I saw it in writing, I would think it's good. That's a poetic line. And I have a soft spot for Eminem. First of all, obviously, I guess that's clear. I think he deserves an enormous amount of criticism and perpetuates a fair amount of sexism and homophobia in his music, and it's not acceptable. And I think a lot of his stuff does suck, and a lot of his songs don't land for me at all. But for example, he had this famous album Revival come out 2017 or something, and people had such a fun time disliking it. And it had at least half the songs were very good, in my opinion. Half the songs were very bad as well. I personally didn't one of them he's like doing, I think, from the perspective of like a black person, if I'm remembering correctly. And like that's kind of cringe in my opinion, even though he is coming from a good place. That's very weird and uncomfortable. And he should have the awareness to not do that. I could be remembering some of the details wrong, but like that and a few other songs, like whenever he sings about like his like libido, I'm like not finding it very interesting. But like half the songs on the album were extremely good and very boundary pushing and interesting. I remember the second song, just like I'm at your throat like chloroseptic. Yeah, that was a cool song. But yeah, this freestyle he did, Eminem Trump freestyle lyrics. I just want to see if I can read them, the full lyrics. Here we go. Oh fuck! I totally did not realize that the awfully hot coffee pot was the first line. Wow. Okay, that's really funny. Fuck. That was a bad call, but like again, I challenge anyone else to try to do this, okay? So he goes, "That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Should I drop it on Donald Trump? Probably not, but that's all I got. I come up with a solid plot. Got a plan and I now got a hatchet like a damn Apache with a tomahawk. I'm going to walk inside a mosque on Ramadan and say a prayer that every time Melania talks, she gets I'll stop. But we better give Obama props because what we got in office now is a kamikaze that'll probably cause a nuclear holocaust. And while the drama pops and he waits for shit to quiet down, he'll just gas his plane up and fly around till the bombing stops." Are you kidding me? Like, do you realize how hard it is to, like he's doing the most complex rhyme scheme. I'm going to read that again, okay? It's like, where do I even start? And okay, but we better give Obama props. Yeah, obviously I don't think we should give Obama props, but this is just a question about the artistic, it's still such a good line, okay? But we better give Obama props because what we got in office now is a kamikaze that'll probably cause a nuclear holocaust. And while the drama pops and he waits for shit to quiet down, he'll just gas his plane up and fly around till the bombing stops. Like, do you realize how many hours of work and like study go into being able to do something like this, freestyling or even writing it? But like, these people have no sense of poetry. People don't understand what poetry is. Like, intensity's heightened, tensions are rising. Trump, when it comes to giving a shit, you're stingy as I am. Except when it comes to having the balls to go against me, you hide them because you don't got the fucking nuts like an empty asylum. What? Racism's the only thing he's fantastic for because that's how he gets his fucking rocks off and he's orange. That's a hilarious line. Yeah, sick tan, like, because you famously can't rhyme with orange, right? Yeah, sick tan, that's why he wants us to disband, because he cannot withstand the fact that we're not afraid of Trump. Fucking walking on eggshells, I came to stomp. That's why he keeps screaming, drain the swamp. Because he's in quicksand. It's like we take a step forwards and backwards, but this is his form of distraction. Plus, he gets an enormous reaction when he attacks the NFL, so we focus on that. Instead of talking Puerto Rico or gun reform for Nevada, all these horrible tragedies, and he's bored and would rather cause a Twitter storm with the Packers. Then he says he wants to lower our taxes, and who's going to pay for his extravagant trips back and forth to his fam, to his golf resorts and his mansion. Same shit that he tormented Hillary for and he slandered. Then does it more from his endorsement of Bannon, support for the Klansmen, tiki torches in hand for the soldier that's black, and comes home from Iraq and is still told to go back to Africa, fork and dagger, and this racist 94-year-old grandpa who keeps ignoring our past historical deplorable factors. Now, if you're a black athlete, you're a spoiled little brat for trying to use your platform or your stature to give those a voice who don't have one. He says, you're spitting in the face of vets who fought for us, you bastards, unless you're a POW who's tortured and battered, because to him you're zeros because you don't like his war heroes captured. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'm going to stop now. I've read most of the freestyle. But are you kidding me? So, okay, you want to clown on him, like, go ahead, but, like, just know that, like, he is literally the most, like, one of the most talented lyricists alive, I think. There are many people who can do that, but not that many. You know what I mean? Like, that is unfathomably good rhyming. That is, like, poetry that is beautiful and amazing, and so, yeah. Okay, Before we get out of here, chess segment. I've been keeping up with Hans Niemann, posting every day. He's becoming a very talented content creator. He's not getting the views. He's well under 10,000 most of these videos lately. He's doing like counting days to being world champion is sort of the gimmick, and right now he's freaking 46 days in. So he's really making a video a day, or he's uploading a video a day. So I'll give him credit for that, but. I don't think that the people are liking it to the same degree. He still is hearting almost every single comment. And I've basically just been following it because I find it very interesting how parasocial sort of the dynamic is becoming here. And I really recommend Hans, to just take a break from making content and just focus on the chess. Maybe make content, every few days or something, but don't feel like you have to do it every day. Top comment on the video from today, 24 minutes ago. Hans, I hope you find time to rest. You seem exhausted, man. It's not a sprint. It's a constant daily battle. But I believe in you. You have everything it takes, and soon the world will see. Hans Niemann will echo for generations. That has 4 upvotes, and Hans hearted it. I would never heart a comment that was, praising me to that extent. But... So, yeah, I think, I just think it's interesting. Like on this one video he posted after losing to Hikaru on Titled Tuesday, the chess.com tournament. So it was like day 42. Hans pinned a comment on this video. And so, yeah, he, seeing his videos after he loses is interesting. He pinned his own comment, which is fun. He pinned his own comment on this video from 4 days ago, and he said, "We will get our revenge." So he lost to Hikaru, and Hikaru's like, his online rival. He sued Hikaru also, but they're like over that, I guess. Hans really isolated himself from the chess world. He didn't really take accountability for his cheating. He really didn't. And then he sued people, and he's not really taking accountability for that. And so just like building this very parasocial following, saying we will get our revenge. Like it's their revenge too, the viewers. Like we're all in it with Hans, we're all in it together. So yeah, it's our revenge. It's not even just his. So he's stimulating parasociality is what I'm trying to say. And I don't like that. Okay. So last segment on the podcast, I'm going to check the mailbag, the Verbal Journal mailbag. So you can write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. And no one did. So we will finish it up now. Thank you so much for listening. I had a great time. It's good to be back, and it's an awfully hot coffee pot. So I hope you have a good rest of your life until I talk to you presumably next week. And thanks for being patient if you actually enjoy listening to this podcast and you missed it for the last few weeks. You can always go check the previous episodes. I try to make that playlist pretty easily accessed if you're a YouTube member. And if you're a Patreon supporter, I'll include the link. I don't usually include it as much. I should think to do that. Okay, so thanks so much for listening, and goodbye.
This is a podcast or something like that.